Epstein has been accused of a couple things. One is he would invite people on his plane, and then, like, let's say Alad's, chilling at a party and he's drinking. This is before anyone knew who Epstein was. The accusation is that Epstein would be like, so what do you do? And he'd be like, oh, I'm a journalist. I do this. And he'd be like, oh, that's amazing. It's amazing. What do you got going on this weekend? He'd say, I'm going to fly back to New York. And he'd be like, hey, I got a jet. You want to fly my PJ? I'll fly back to New York. And someone like Alad goes, what, for real? That sounds amazing. What he would do is he'd bring people onto the plane, people with power, not like just some random reporter, but just as a hypothetical. While they're in the air, teenage girls walk out and they're hanging out. And he's like, oh, these are so-and-so and so-and-so. They're hanging out with us. You want some champagne? Get the guy a little drunk, secret cameras rolling, and then the girls come in, do their deed with the guy, and then Epstein comes in, sits down and goes, those girls were 15 years old, and I got you on camera. You'll do whatever I say from now on. That's one of the conspiracies. So I think that's probably a lot of what he did. Like, he would trick these guys. But I also think it's also true that a lot of these guys were like, don't know, don't care. Yeah. Or they knew, right? So I think Prince Andrew knew exactly what he's doing. Because you look at that photo of him with Virginia Giuffre, and he's like smiling and looking at the camera, and it's like, oh, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like that young girl right there, come on. I think she's 20.
I do feel like it's a really dumb move to allow yourself to be photographed with an underage girl like that. Especially when you're, if it's not in a public setting, if it's at someone's private home, like that's a dumb move.
Unless Epstein went to Andrew and said, you will take the photograph.
I mean, that could be, yeah.
Even more bad PR for the royal family at this point. Just seems like we're kicking a dead horse. It's a really sad state of affairs for the royal family. Who's the current, is it Prince or King Charles?
King Charles.
Who's in charge now. But seeing from like when he grew up, he's 80 or 90 some odd years. I'm no historian for the royal family. It's like a seriously sad state of affairs because over the course of his life, he saw the role of the monarchy just completely diminish, see their empire completely
part of it, though.
Flounder. And now the relatives of his family, what are they best known for in our generation? It's for taking part in these underage sex scandals. And it's a sad state of affairs for the face of the royal family because this used to be the most prestigious royal family, the crown, and was the most powerful country at the time with their British East India Company, and that wasn't too long ago. And to see the status of the royal family right now and the direction that the UK is going in, it's a very, very sad state of affairs.
If I had one wish, if a genie appeared before me, I'd say I'd like to briefly go back in time to 1780 to stand before King George III and show him what becomes of his empire and his family, but for a fleeting moment. Just like the war ends instantly, he gives up, the empire crumbles, the man falls into a deep depression. This is what your legacy will be. Congratulations.
Yeah. It's not just losing to the colonies. It's Meghan Markle's pasta on Netflix.
Well, it's like also what's become of the UK? What is London? What does London have to show for itself? It doesn't feel British over there, and I don't think the country will last in its native Western self for very much longer.
That is true about London. I visited it on my honeymoon, and it is probably the most Islamic place I've ever been in my. And I was just in a random
great falafel
spot. Yeah, true. But like it's completely different. But the thing is, that's the economic engine of the UK. I think if you take London away, a third of their GDP goes away, and they end up dropping like 30 slots in terms of the size of their economy. So like the UK is essentially a third world country with a super financial city attached to it on like one end. It is actually really sad what's happening in the UK, even separate from this guy. First of all, it's embarrassing that the prince can't even lie. Like that interview where he was denying it and he's sweating. It was like,
isn't England supposed to be a Christian nation, like founded in their document through the royal family?
The Church of England.
So, I mean, fundamentally, I think that's going to change as the population shifts in England, and it might be the first Islamic country in Europe. I don't know if that's true.
Can you imagine
the royal family is the and there's countries that are more Islamic than the UK and Europe right now, but the royal family is the head of the Church of England. So they're like the Pope, where they're a king or queen on one end, but also the head of the church, and that's like completely fallen by the wayside. Like they have a state mandated religion, and they're more secular than the United States.
This is a half joke, but like, what do you think would have happened if Prince Andrew in the interview, when the lady said, "You're being accused of sleeping with underage girls," like, what if he just went, "I'm Muslim"? Like she would have immediately shut up. And
What do you mean by underage?
No. Like, so
Let's say something about the prophet. You know, if he was able to do it.
I'm Muslim. What are you insinuating?
Yeah.
It's like you're Muslim. Yes, I converted. What are you insinuating? Are you insulting the prophet? She'd be like, no. I'm so sorry. I'll never ask you again. And they would have immediately dropped everything. And then in the United States, we'd still be going like, holy crap.
Exactly.
But not in the UK. I mean, that was just out. It's like at that point, if you say anything, you go to prison.
Didn't they say he had some crazy sweating medical condition
Yes.
or something like that? And then people found all these other interviews where he was not sweating at all, like before and after, and it was supposed to be incurable, but they're like, oh no, it was not there then.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.